I replayed it so many times. I memorized the exact way your voice sounded when you said it, like you meant it forever. You said it on a Tuesday in the kitchen after dinner, with the dishes still unwashed and the radio still on. Said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Said it like it was a fact that could not come undone. And I held it like a contract I could reference later, like something signed and witnessed and approved. I did not know that words could sound so certain and mean so little once the feeling moved. You meant it when you said it. I believe that much is true. You meant it in that kitchen on that Tuesday, but meaning it then does not mean you still do. You meant it when you said it, and then the meaning changed, and I am left here holding all these words in a language that no longer says the same. You meant it when you said it, and that is the cruelest thing, that the truth can have an expiry date and feel like everything. I used to quote you back to yourself in arguments, hold up the evidence of everything you said. But you looked at those words like a stranger looks at photographs of someone else entirely, someone else instead. And I understood that night that I had built a house on sentences that were only ever temporary walls, that love makes promises in a language of the moment, and the moment moves, and sometimes that is all. You meant it when you said it. I believe that much is true. You meant it in that kitchen on that Tuesday, but meaning it then does not mean you still do. You meant it when you said it, and then the meaning changed, and I am left here holding all these words in a language that no longer says the same. You meant it when you said it, and that is the cruelest thing, that the truth can have an expiry date and feel like everything. I have stopped replaying it now mostly, or at least I catch myself before the end, before the part where your voice sounds so certain, before I have to lose the meaning once again. I am learning that a promise is a photograph of intention, true in the moment it was taken, nothing more. And people change inside their promises without meaning to. And that is not a crime, it is just what people are. You meant it when you said it. I believe that much is true. You meant it in that kitchen on that Tuesday, but meaning it then does not mean you still do. You meant it when you said it, and then the meaning changed, and I am left here holding all these words in a language that no longer says the same. You meant it when you said it, and that is the cruelest thing, that the truth can have an expiry date and feel like everything. You meant it, I know you meant it, and somehow that makes it harder, not easier, to let go of. You describe someone fell in love with before they arrived, and they never quite did. You told me who you were becoming on our second evening. Described the person waiting just beneath the surface. Said you were almost there, just needed the right reason. Said loving and being loved would finally serve as the last piece of whatever you were building. And I believed in the becoming like a fool. Fell in love with the arriving version of you instead of the one sitting across from me at the table. Half the person you described is the one who showed up every time. Half the warmth, half the showing up, half the hand reaching back for mine. Half the person you described was better than the half I got, and I kept waiting for the other half to arrive, not knowing that the other half was not. Half the person you described is all you ever gave, and I love the whole of the description, while the half of you just stayed. I made allowances I should not have kept making. Told myself the rest was coming, give it time. Watched for signs of the person in the telling. Found small evidence and called it proof and called it mine. But the becoming never finished, or it finished at a place that was not where you said it would arrive. And I had reorganized my whole life around a destination that turned out not to exist outside of the describe. Half the person you described is the one who showed up every time. Half the warmth, half the showing up, half the hand reaching back for mine. Half the person you described was better than the half I got, and I kept waiting for the other half to arrive, not knowing that the other half was not. Half the person you described is all you ever gave, and I love the whole of the description, while the half of you just stayed. I do not think you lied intentionally that evening. I think you believed the version that you told. I think you saw yourself as always almost ready, and kept that almost close as you got old. But I needed someone present, not arriving, someone whole, not promising to be. And the gap between the told and the delivered was quietly the end of you and me. Half the person you described is the one who showed up every time. Half the warmth, half the showing up, half the hand reaching back for mine. Half the person you described was better than the half I got, and I kept waiting for the other half to arrive, not knowing that the other half was not. Half the person you described is all you ever gave, and I love the whole of the description, while the half of you just stay. Next time I will love who is in the room, not who is on their way. There was always something that explained the missing, the traffic or the timing or the difficult week. Always something bigger than your own intention. Always something standing in the way of what I need. And I listened to the reasons and I nodded, and I filed them under difficult and tried again. But a pattern of excuses is still a pattern, and patterns do not lie the way that people can. You always had an excuse for every time you fell short. You always had an explanation for every promise you forgot. You always had a reason that sat just outside your control. But after enough excuses, the reason starts to look a lot like you. You always had an excuse, and I always accepted them until I stopped. I started writing them down one February, not to use against you, but to understand whether I was being unreasonable in the asking, or whether you were simply not the person for the plan. And the list was long and varied and consistent, and every item on it pointed back the same way, towards someone who was very good at talking and not so good at showing up on any given day. You always had an excuse for every time you fell short. You always had an explanation for every promise you forgot. You always had a reason that sat just outside your control. But after enough excuses, the reason starts to look a lot like you. You always had an excuse, and I always accepted them until I stopped. The last excuse was smaller than the others, almost reasonable if you tilted your head right. And I heard myself accepting it on autopilot, and stopped mid-sentence in the middle of that night, and said nothing and just sat inside the quiet of a habit I had practiced for too long, of taking half of what I asked for as sufficient, and calling an excuse a reason to stay on. You always had an excuse for every time you fell short. You always had an explanation for every promise you forgot. You always had a reason that sat just outside your control. But after enough excuses, the reason starts to look a lot like you. You always had an excuse, and I always accepted them until I stopped. We made so many plans in the winter, when the future felt like something we could fill with anything we wanted. We talked about the summer like it was already ours, the places in the mornings and the light. You pointed at a map one evening by the lamp and said that one, and I said yes, and it felt right. And I tucked it into the future like a certainty, like something we had already begun. the sun. The plans we made in winter melted with the cold. The plans we made in winter were the first things to go. All those summer mornings, all those places on the map. The plans we made in winter are the parts of us I cannot get back. We were so good at planning, so careless with the doing. The plans we made in winter were the most beautiful thing we never followed through in. I still have the list somewhere inside a drawer, written in your handwriting on the back of a receipt. All the small specific things we said we would do together, all the ordinary futures that the winter made complete. And the receipt is from a Tuesday in December. The till point and the time still printed at the top. A document of everything we were about to be, before the about to became a full stop. The plans we made in winter melted with the cold. The plans we made in winter were the first things to go. All those summer mornings, all those places on the map. The plans we made in winter are the parts of us I cannot get back. We were so good at planning, so careless with the doing. The plans we made in winter were the most beautiful thing we never followed through in. I went to one of the places on my own last August, stood in it and tried to find the version of us there. But it was just a place without the winter promise, just a view without the hand and without the shared. And I understood that plans are only as real as the people willing to show up and make them true. And winter makes us generous with the future, because the future in the winter still belongs to you. The plans we made in winter melted with the cold. The plans we made in winter were the first things to go. All those summer mornings, all those places on the map. The plans we made in winter are the parts of us I cannot get back. We were so good at planning, so careless with the doing. The plans we made in winter were the most beautiful thing we never followed through in. I kept the receipt, the one with your handwriting. I do not know why, I just cannot throw away the proof that we were once so full of plans. You were sorry every time, and every time I believed it, and every time nothing changed. The apology was always genuine. I felt that you meant the sorry in the moment that you said it. Your eyes did the thing they do when you are honest, and I took the sorry and I kept it, and I credited it against the thing that needed more than saying, against the pattern that required more than words. But sorry without changing is just a holding pattern, and holding patterns do not move towards something better. You apologized, but nothing changed. The words were real, but nothing rearranged. You apologized and I forgave again, and we were back at the beginning by the weekend. You apologized, but nothing changed, and I kept accepting the sorry like it counted, like the weight of your apology was payment for the debt that just kept growing and surmounting. You apologized, but nothing changed, and eventually neither did I. I started tracking it without meaning to, the average time between the sorry and the same. How many days of different before the familiar? How many weeks before we played the scene again? And the intervals were getting shorter, not longer, and the sorries were getting practiced, not more raw. And I was getting quieter in my accepting, until I was barely speaking when I saw you apologized, but nothing changed. The words were real, but nothing rearranged. You apologized and I forgave again, and we were back at the beginning by the weekend. You apologized, but nothing changed, and I kept accepting the sorry like it counted, like the weight of your apology was payment for the debt that just kept growing and surmounting. You apologized, but nothing changed, and eventually neither did I. The last sorry was the most convincing one you gave me. Something in the delivery had learned from all the others, and for one moment I felt the familiar softening before I heard the sorry land and felt it covered by something harder underneath the feeling, something that had quietly been building for a while. A tiredness of the cycle and the script of it, a knowledge that had outgrown my own denial. You apologized, but nothing changed. The words were real, but nothing rearranged. You apologized and I forgave again, and we were back at the beginning by the weekend. You apologized, but nothing changed, and I kept accepting the sorry like it counted, like the weight of your apology was payment for the debt that just kept growing and surmounting. You apologized, but nothing changed, and eventually neither did I. I am not sorry for stopping, I am only sorry it took me that many sorries to get there.